even know what a Stallone cut is, little dog?
Stallone cuts. Stallone cuts. Sylvester Stallone cuts. Stallone cuts. Stallone cuts. Sylvester Stallone.
It's over, Rock!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stallone Cuts.
Thirsty for more, of course.
Tulsa Kings, dude.
Of course.
Tulsa Kings. Are you a Tulsa King?
I am a Tulsa King.
I think I'm a Tulsa
King.
King. I'm a Tulsa King, too.
How do you feel about the first episode so far?
Okay. We should say before, because people don't know, we are a podcast that has, like, our main show is Stallone Cuts. And the reason I'm saying this is because I don't think, like, this is going to be on YouTube. Maybe it'll be a different audience. Maybe they won't know about the podcast. Oh, shit.
Maybe we're in a bad neighborhood, dude. Yeah, you're right. We should,
I'm a podcast.
We should introduce... Should we look at the camera?
I don't know. Are the eye lines going to be so fucked?
I hope not. I mean, I'm going to put this, like, side by side. We're still working out the technical aspect of
the video show, but so we're like an actual podcast, and if you want to listen to that, we're doing an entire season on Sylvester Stallone, and we thought we'd make like it'll be a special thing. Our first video.
We're doing the videos on Tulsa King because that's the most relevant. If you want to listen to our show,
the most current.
It's the most current.
It's the most current Stallone, dude.
Oh, the most plastic surgery in Stallone.
Okay, hold on.
And the most MTV Stallone.
How do you want to do this? Because, like, do you want to talk a little bit about the production first, like who's involved, like, so we can like set the tone of what the kind of show is?
No, I wouldn't worry about him. I think we should just fucking do it. Who gives a shit? Let him catch up.
Yeah, I mean, okay, dude. It starts out with jail Stallone, and he's like,
years in 25 years in jail. Man, can I just say? I just gotta say,
25 years in jail.
Stallone, Taylorsheridan Stallone.
That's what I was gonna. So Yellowstone Stallone.
Yeah, Yellowstone Stallone. Yeah. Sorry, Taylorsheridan.
He's Yellowstoned in this movie.
Do you like anything by Taylorsheridan? You're not a big fan, right?
I'm not like a huge fan, but I'm also like, I'm a little bit indifferent. I was just saying this today because I was talking to Belim about this.
He's just, I like him. I like him. I feel like he is one of those kinds of guys who doesn't understand why the things that he likes are cool. And there's like an ignorance to that, but like also that just comes from the media, like Sicario, Hell or High Water.
Oh yeah.
Sicario, the second one.
Sicario, the second one.
Well, Yellowstone, 5 seasons, right? He's like a writer. He's got one of those things where I feel like he's really wanting to imitate like a sort of Cormac, like, but like
a Cormac McCarthy bleakness, or
not necessarily a bleakness, but like the sort of like poetry or the sort of like prose of that kind of
bleakness.
Yeah, a sort of kind of person like that, which is fine. The problem is that Cormac McCarthy has douchebag fans. And now, like, a sort of watered-down version has, like, an even more bro-y kind of douchebag fan.
Well, now you're wearing diapers.
That I'm like,
That's
okay.
so true, actually. And so maybe some of those bros might be into this, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be into this. There are definitely people... Taylor Sheridan seems like a dude... Yeah, totally. Taylor Sheridan seems like a dude who grew up with Stallone, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. There's like a
you
respect...
You grew up with Stallone, too, Marv. Don't even... Sorry.
there's like a respect paid to Stallone in this show.
Yeah.
That's like...
Yeah, that's very... Stallone had a lot of control over his image in this. Which I'm up for. Beard Stallone.
Oh man, Beard Stallone.
Beard Stallone to clean cut Stallone is amazing.
Beard Stallone to goatee Stallone.
Goatee Stallone is not a good Stallone for
Well,
me.
okay, hold on. I mean, it's a better manicured goatee in this one than it is in
Does he have a
the
goatee in this?
Expendables.
He doesn't have a goatee in this.
Oh, he's just clean
No,
shaven.
he's just clean shaven. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, he does have a goatee. You're right.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not jet black like the other one.
And drawn in.
The
the thin lines on the
man.
side.
Yeah, all that HGH grew his thin lines out.
I mean, yeah, dude. He's really good in this show. He's really good right from the start.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the show off the bat is there's a tonal issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't know if it wants to be the show Blunt Talk with Patrick Stewart or if it wants to be like a Sopranos type show. I like the like weird Lynchy kind of Americana, and it's a stretch to call it Lynchy, but I think it's like,
I know what you mean. It feels, but that's the Taylor Sheridan influence,
right?
The big problem, I understand what you mean. The big problem for me for the tone so far
it's not Stallone
tone. It feels a little too modern. It feels like Sopranos was shot on film. Everybody looks like a real person. They don't look like gray blobs.
Yeah.
The style of filmmaking is very like bluish, grayish,
Bluish hue.
and then the contrast in the sort of going out to Tulsa. This is like in the first scenes, it feels like sort of like almost like a little Fincher influenced, a little bit like very
kind of like
modern,
washed out.
Yeah, washed out.
Yeah.
And then when we get to the like Tulsa stuff, I'm more into the Tulsa stuff.
I'm more into the Tulsa stuff too. I think they were trying to do something. Okay, so like Stallone gets out of prison after giving this like long speech, and like his long speech, like just like, you know, he shows that he's a tough guy, that he's a made guy, that he's a Sopranos style capo that did something and kept his mouth shut, did his time, and would he have traded it for 25 seconds? He was like, absolutely, he would have traded this life for 25 seconds of freedom, which is a nice touch. I think it's setting something up.
Yeah, totally. And then he gets introduced to we all get introduced to
The family,
the boys. His nephew is...
He doesn't want anyone standing behind him because he got squeamish about that in prison.
Yeah, totally.
But like, it's kind of cool to have this like... I remember thinking, I've watched this episode twice, and I remember thinking the first time, what? Okay, like he doesn't want to have anyone behind him, but like, yeah, like he's just been in prison, like he's used to like having to like watch his back all the time, right?
Yeah.
Which is a nice touch.
Yeah, we're introduced to Chicky, Vince, and Pete. The man Pete, the guy having like
Dude.
like
The privilege of getting decked out by Stallone. Is that the guy you're talking about?
No, I'm talking. Pete is the guy who was the like head guy.
Oh, the oxygen.
On the oxygen, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they added the touch of the guy on the oxygen tank. It gives it kind of like an old schoolness.
Totally, and they're also fucking geriatric. Like they're like these guys being like 50-something-year-old, being like, oh, this is his nephew.
They're not being 50-year-old.
No, not them. I mean the like
other guys?
nephews. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like Tony Soprano aged, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
they're like that sort of, they're in their primes, but they've got some heart conditions. And like, oh man,
it's just the cheeks on Stallone, the like
I
stretched.
liked it. I loved Stallone's face in this show. He looks, oh man, I'm excited to get to see like trajectory Stallone. Like, it's gonna be cool, man. Like he's such a good actor.
He's so good in this.
He's so good. And like, I was thinking, like, I've been thinking about it a lot because like our first season that we started the show with was the Schwartzy season.
Yeah.
And like, I'm thinking, dude, I want to like, because I wasn't a Stallone guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking after this season, we should probably like do like maybe what we make Second Chance Schwartzy is a sequel show where we like take a Stallone movie that's analogous to a Schwartzy movie and compare and contrast them.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know
we'll
if that's
talk about
like
it.
we can maybe talk about
it seems like really intense to do like as opposed to just talking about the movies.
That's true.
But yeah, like I feel like
I feel you. I'm right here.
when it comes to this show, I like the setup.
Setup's great.
Yeah, and I like. By the way, speaking of setups, I really like the opening title sequence where it's like the contrast between New York and like the framing of like Tulsa in there. So it's oh, it's like a train, but in the picture it's like a tractor, you know, like stuff like that is really interesting.
Well, and that's where we get like our major hints of Americana and the color difference, because they're in the very opening of the show showing that New York is kind of like gray and washed out.
Yeah.
And that Tulsa is like got more color, and it's like,
and Stallone is obviously expecting some compensation for being 25 years.
I mean, I think I'm entitled to some compensation.
Some honor. I mean,
I came here with a sense of honor.
Oh, dude, stuff was
I mean,
perfect.
You could tell that a little bit he's playing out his mobster fantasy, Stallone.
Totally.
But I love it. I love it. Like, I came here with a sense of, you know, when guys were guys, you know, like what happened to the strong silent type?
And when the mob boss is like, I'm giving you a whole fucking city, and he's like, you're giving me a fucking banishment.
Yeah, or like, doesn't he say like excommunication or something? He's kind of wordy Stallone.
Yeah, wordy Stallone
because
he's
like, I read some books. Says that he read some books in prison. And then later, grammar shames. We'll talk about him.
We'll talk about the wokeness that you're going to inflict on this podcast.
I mean, dude, this movie.
You better introduce our YouTube audience to it.
To the wokeness, to my wokeness. I mean, listen, dude. I think that, again, do you think that Stallone had a heavy hand in the writing of the race stuff? Well, okay, we'll get to it. I'm sorry. We can't get ahead of ourselves.
When it cuts to what's it called, Stallone in the airport, because it goes like, it's like pretty like intense. It's like 15 minutes and you're just in Tulsa, and you hear like
I loved it,
and like hillbilly music, and then the song so abruptly cuts when a bug hits him, and he's like, Jesus Christ! I thought that was fucking hilarious.
That was hilarious, and then
so funny,
gets...
and him being like, "Oh, what was that?" And the lady's like, "A grasshopper." God,
that thing was the size of my cock. And she's like, "Oh!" And he's like, actually, my cock's bigger.
I'm more
and
well down than that. And she sprays him with holy water.
They even tried holy water. Freddy 3 reference. Or what? Which one was it?
That was Freddy Part 4. And then we get introduced to Tyson immediately.
No, it wasn't. That was Part 5.
It's not true. Yeah, it is. No, it's not.
It was Part 5. Yeah.
Holy water.
Yeah, Part 5. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, taxi driver Tyson picks him up. Obviously, we know he's going to be
a main character.
Which is funny because the way the show is written seems like, whoa, dude, this would be outrageous and would never happen.
I mean, it seems kind of like a Benny situation, you know? Like, he just like takes on like secondary character status.
Totally.
I don't know, like, and is a taxi driver and is black.
Yeah.
Like, so okay, so this is what you were talking about, the wokeness. Like, Stallone, like,
is like he's
trading jabs. He's like asking him questions,
and he's like, "What? You don't know anything about your fucking history?" And he's like, "No, man."
And like that also seemed loaded, like history.
Yeah, totally.
History, Stallone talking about history to a black guy, Stallone.
But I totally think that it works for the show.
It does work because it does work for the show because Stallone shows that he's woke in the way that matters.
Yeah, totally. It is the way that matters. The Stallone.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying the tooth again with racism, much in Stallone fashion.
Yeah, totally. And Stallone not knowing about what Uber is.
Dude, I
the no phone Stallone.
No phone Stallone. And well, he's like, if only they could create a device where you could just look up something like that. Yeah. And he was like, are you kidding, man? They've got iPhones. But did you think that was too ham-fisted a line?
They handled it really well.
He acted because what he recovers it with is really good, but the actual iPhone iPhone line is not
iPhone.
Not that great.
No, not at all. Like the thing was, this is a how did you guess?
How did you guess?
For
Tulsa
King.
It's more for Taylor Sheridan. apparently when he was writing Sicario, he finished it, and what's his name? Benicio got the script and was like, I'm not going to read any of these lines. And they just made him a totally silent character in that movie.
Wow.
Which is sick. That's really cool.
It's a good choice.
It's a good idea.
But it wasn't
like,
his idea.
No, but that's the thing, is that
went with it,
the ham-fisted stuff is the thing. Like,
Oh,
I feel like
that's what Benicio read?
That's what Benicio read, where he was just like, I'm not going to do this.
That's an interesting take. I did find the dialogue is what made that movie sluggish to me. I don't find the same thing with the show. I feel like maybe the format works for the show.
Yeah, and it's like you have to like do a lot of introduction stuff, right? And speaking of introductions, they get to a dispensary, which is like, I don't understand.
Well, they drive by a dispensary and he asks him to
Stallone
stop.
is like, how does this work?
How does this work? And he's like, I don't know, it's legal.
But he gives him a bunch of money and he's like, just stay here. And then he goes in and fucking, I didn't know I didn't know Martin Starr was on the show.
Oh man,
and I was like, amazing.
It was so exciting to see
excited.
him. And like so recently too with Stallone, because Martin Starr was in Samaritan.
Oh yeah, totally.
Which
totally.
I love Martin Starr Stallone. Martin Starr is such a Stallone actor.
He is
really
such a Stallone actor. And then what's it called? We get the guy who's like, oh yeah, BC Bud, man, the white dreadlock dude.
BC Bud, man.
And like the like, oh man, the sloppy security guard, and the like genderqueer lady who's way high, and him. But I love the confidence. First of all, I love the slobberiness of the dreadlock guy, who's like, BC Bud.
Because it's perfectly mixed with Stallone's, like, he's really like a boomer. He's
boomer
like
energy.
Like he comes in like swinging dick in a way that no one does anymore.
Totally.
And like he feels so confused about it.
Yeah, totally.
And he really acted that well. I think like
and
he's using his oldness in such a smart way.
Totally. And then the like
old, I'm old.
The confidence of the security guard pointing the pepper spray at him.
He's like, all right, come on. Come on.
And then
he's like, no, okay.
All right.
He's like, no, then get Bodie for me.
Bodie!
Oh, I
man.
love that his name's Bodie. And he's like, all right, then get Bodie for me. And like, oh man, Stallone, his low voice Stallone.
I love
low voice Stallone is the best.
It's not,
but it's more, you know.
It's somber Stallone.
It's booming Stallone.
Yeah, totally.
He's kind of somber. Yeah, he's somber Stallone.
But yeah, basically he convinces Bodie he racketeers Bodie for 20% of his money.
Let me see your books. No, but he first throws that fucking jar of juice.
he takes the jar for not the jar. It's like a not mug. What is that thing called again?
A thermos.
Thermos from what's his name, Wilson or Tyson, and throws it at the
security guard.
Well, now you're wearing diapers.
Talking about so many people get. Oh, dude, did you remember how when that guy at the beginning gets knocked out?
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
he just like fucking like falls on
oh man,
like dead fall.
Yeah,
I laughed so much.
Yeah,
because they showed how brutal a punch Stallone could pack, and it felt believable.
It felt real. Yeah, totally. Vince is that character's name.
He looks amazing.
He looks really good.
He looks amazing.
Totally. And
Stallone.
playing his age.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah,
but they comment on it. They comment
totally.
on it.
And they comment on the fact that like the race related stuff is very topical in the show, just because of the fact that like, you know, Tyson keeps on bringing up how, oh yeah, like you're a gangster in the more colloquial context of black gangsters versus white gangsters, which has a different,
there's a different connotation, and he's also saying it in a like bravado way of like, you're doing something cool, you're a big dog, right?
Totally.
And like that's more what he means. And Stallone kind of like he
takes
kind
it
of
so personally,
but he likes it a little bit too, because he gets kind of surprised and starts like asking him questions. It's like, I think, a nuanced take in it. Like they're trying to do something nuanced with it, and like they don't really they make Stallone seem like the out of touch one. So
Yeah,
you're very
'cause he
much like
is.
fish out of watering sort of.
Yeah, which is
Stallone.
great. That's a great setup.
Yeah.
And the fact that like he gets taken to the dump motel because he's like, I don't want to get like, I don't want too many eyes on me. But then is like, wait, what am I doing here?
Yeah, because he like immediately just starts earning again, and it's so easy. I think they show that it's like he just like
It's like totally second nature to him.
yeah, and he kind of is getting his like groove back, Stallone.
Totally. And we're introduced. He gets an Uber. He gets the manager lady.
He gives her $100 to give him an
get
Uber.
him an Uber.
And he goes to Bread and Bucking and Breeding and Bucking. Bread and
Bucking.
It's like the gayest bar name ever.
Yeah.
It's like Bread and Buck or something.
Yeah, Bread and Buck. That's what it
Which is a great name. And like, I think I watched the show with I watched it the first time with friend of the show, Weird Alice, and like we were commenting on like that's definitely going to be revealed to be a gay bar because he's in there, and then this guy's like, howdy stranger, and like
yeah, there are two dudes who are like,
howdy stranger.
hey,
He's like,
do you want to get me a bourbon?
and he's like, you never know if you don't ask. Sure, I'll get you a bourbon.
Yeah.
And these guys like, thank you, mister. I'll suck your dick later.
No, but this is the way they introduced Garrett Hedlund. Mitch, the guy who's the like bar owner.
Very, very tastefully done.
Love that actor.
He's great.
Actor. He's definitely one of those guys who's like, oh, you're so good for shows, dude.
Yeah.
You're so good for shows. Never good for movies, but so good for shows.
It's so true, dude.
Oh man,
Never good for movies. It's so good for.
and then he hires Tyson to be his driver and to buy him a car for $50,000.
Yeah. So he takes like he's like that's Martin Starr's like he kind of is like, hey, I'm gonna break your foot if you don't tell me where the money is. I know it's not in the bank because the federal government would take that shit away in a second. So he shows that he's still like kind of savvy. Stallone like knows.
We know
sort
how
of
crime works, and crime really doesn't like change that much when it comes to like money or money laundering or things
He's like, I'm gonna keep you safe. There were no problems until you arrived.
That was great. I thought that was hilarious.
Funny. So like he but they kind of make it like sort of sitcom-y in that like they sort of just take on the roles, which is cool.
It is cool because
it worked
people
for the
do,
show.
People do that.
I
though.
guess that's true.
People
too,
do that where they're just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, like I've been doing renovations and this guy has been fucking like not showing up, and it's like, dude, like this is how I feel. Like do I have to yell at you? Do I have to scream at you? You don't have to put this in the show. But no, it's fine. I love.
I was just checking what the time was.
Posture, Stallone. His posture is so intense,
dude,
and straight.
He's tall, Stallone in this again, standing next to Martin Starr, who's 6'1", and he's like,
oh yeah, Martin Starr is tall.
Yeah, and he's like
a tall, lanky dude.
Yeah.
Man, but then Tyson comes back with no car, his mom's car, and he's like, what the fuck happened, dude? And then like he's like, the guy,
he's embarrassed.
Yeah, he is embarrassed.
This actor played it so. What's the actor's name?
Jay Will.
They called me a crack dealer, and they were like,
"This is the important wokeness."
This is where Stallone is like revealing his true woke nature. He's like, "Well, it's where it counts, you know.
Yeah,
the racism stops where it counts. It doesn't matter all that other stuff, Stallone." That's what he thinks.
Yeah, he meets Donnie Shore, the guy who was going to sell him the car, and
he's like, "Howdy, I'm Donnie Shore."
Yeah,
and Stallone's like, "Fuck you," and punches him. No, he's like, he kind of like is like, hey dude, you did something fucked up.
Yeah,
you're racist.
But he's like, but this is a misunderstanding.
Oh man, the guy who's clearly racist.
You see, the problem is, you see a young black man with a lot of money. You gotta think that he's a drug dealer, and it's like, oh man, yeah, like. But this is the kind of wokeness Stallone is okay with.
Well, yeah,
he's
that's
comfortable
with.
But
that's why he put it in. That's why he left it in, Stallone. He was like,
he beats the shit out of him so much, and the fact that
he's like, I'm gonna call a police. Let me get you the phone.
but what was awesome about this, and I think that what was really nice, what actually the sinister under wokeness, is when he says something to the extent of, I mean, you see this guy and you think he's the bad guy, but really,
I think I'm a good guy. I'm the bad guy.
yeah. He's like,
I'm the bad guy.
but like really, he's pointing out, yeah, like mostly it's me who's the kind of guy who I'm like, that's the bad guy, you know.
Scary Stallone.
And then the idea of like him being like, oh yeah, well this wasn't necessary.
Oh man, like yeah, he kind of has that vibe of like, this really wasn't necessary. Like he's got that kind of like narcissistic mobster mentality that they
Totally.
show in Sopranos a lot of, like, I don't care. This is how much I don't care. I just did this and I don't care.
Yeah.
You could tell that Stallone kind of idolizes that, like, you
Not
know, he's
giving a
like
fuck.
tough guys, you
Yeah,
know,
tough
it's just
guys.
like,
I love also when he goes back to Bodhi and he brings him the security camera and he's like, I know the irony of this.
it's funny. There's great lines. It is, for a show that I'm resenting its funniness, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure.
But it feels like the humor's gonna age in that same blunt talk kind of way where you're like, okay, watching it a second time is not as funny.
Fair
It
enough.
feels a little like that Van Damme show where he was like, oh, I'm Pedro.
We'll see. Because like this is the first episode, Stallone. So we're
That's
like,
true.
you gotta like let it breathe a little bit. Because like,
give the guy 4 years.
but
Do you
also
remember
like,
did I ever tell you that story?
what?
Well, I was like on tour once and I was staying at this guy's house and his dad was like super Republican. And like it was in Philly, and like I was like just shitting on Trump so much, and the guy was like, he started like micro vocalizing and just being like, and he says, well, you gotta give the guy 4 years. Did something happen with the camera? Hello everyone and welcome to The Camera Fucked Up. You're the movies guy, dude.
Did it even start? Is the question.
Oh no.
No, it did. It had the light on.
Okay. Is the light on again?
The light's on again. Yeah.
Okay.
That's meant to be. I'm gonna marry you someday, Lorraine. Someday you'll be my wife.
Hysterical, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where were we in the show?
He goes back. He finds out some things about Bodhi's connections in terms of the weed business, and he goes back to the bar. And there's
we're getting like slowly things are being revealed in the show, which I like.
Yeah, for sure.
It does feel a little too writerly and ham-fisted at times, though.
It's very writerly.
It feels like a Andy. What's that guy's name? The Sorkin guy.
Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron
Yeah,
Sorkin.
yeah, totally.
It feels Sorkin-y
much
in a
less
way.
annoying.
It's not in the dialogue, but in the way that they're like, I'm gonna tell you this next part.
I write, which is something you don't.
We are introduced to Stacy, played by Andrea Savage.
Mom's got it
and-
going on. Oh man, she looked great.
She looks really good.
Yeah, he's in the bar, Stallone, and he's all like, "Yeah, I got a fucking big dick," and he's talking to like some like babe approaches him. She's like a bachelorette babe.
I know, but they're
party.
all a little bit too old to be.
Well, I don't think so. Like
part of a bachelorette party.
I don't think so.
guess?
I mean, think
No?
of your friends getting married. They're all like around this age. She's a little bit older than the rest of them.
All these people seem like they're in their 40s.
They seem like they're in their late 30s, early 40s, I would say.
No, I would say 40s.
40s?
I
Okay.
would say 40s.
Well, anyway, Stallone's like, no, I don't want to take no pictures. And like, she's like, oh, come on. Like, what are you? Like, a celebrity or like whatever? Like, and he's like, no, I'm not a fucking celebrity. If I was a celebrity, you'd know who I was. He's like, look, ma'am, all due respect, I'm a really nice guy to women. This is me showing how woke Stallone I am.
yeah, totally.
I really
But
like women.
let's go to a strip club.
But
next,
he's like it's interesting because he is like setting himself up as like woke nice dude Stallone, and he's like a gentleman. He's like, she's like, what are you good at? And he's like, well, I mean, I'm too much of a gentleman to tell you.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, maybe I'm too much of a lady just to want it. And she's like very aggressively flirting with him, Stallone, and he likes it.
Yeah.
But you could tell he's also a little bit intimidated by it.
yeah, because he's been in prison. This is the first lady he's gonna bang.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, I was pretty pumped for this.
Yeah.
It felt like it actually, like, despite the like obviously massive age difference, which they comment on in the show, it felt like kind of like a hot pairing.
Yeah, totally.
was like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. It seemed like it made sense. But like also the amount of HGH that's happening
that's
like
hammed up the face.
Yeah, it's like you gotta really respect the fact that like
Look, when the skin's so loose, it's not holding onto the filler. You know what I mean? It's just like it's turning into blobs.
But yeah, she gets a little freaked out by the fact that he's 75.
Well, so I mean, like he's like no, and she's like, and you're what does she say? Something up. And he's like, that's the key word here, isn't it?
No, hard.
Oh, hard. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You look like a hard 55, which he does.
He does look like a hard 55.
It was such a good line because I was like, he really does look like a hard 55.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice knowing that she would hook up with a hard 55 because it makes more sense that a town girl would hook up with this guy, even though he's like, you know, like kind of pretty boy.
Yeah, totally.
Like he's well put together, Stallone, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like because he's mafioso.
I think so.
But I don't know though. Like, do you buy that he would look this good after all that time in prison?
No.
I mean, they were smuggling it in. You know, I was just like, it was like me protein every day, at least 16 eggs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Stallone in general is that like in order to have this lifestyle, like what the fuck,
This lifestyle, it is indeed a lifestyle to be that
like this
fucking jacked and
like
that
all the time.
HGH stacked bones. Taller because he stacked his bones. He is, dude. But he doesn't like seem unbelievable. Like he doesn't seem like he's standing on apple boxes. He legit seems tall. Like is he wearing like 6-inch platforms or something? Or did he grow?
No, he didn't grow.
He just lifts, Stallone.
Yeah, he does just lift, but he's sending money back. Obviously, he's making what's it called? He's making the rounds. He's doing his job, and then we find out that Stacy is fucking in the
Part of the
FBI.
FBI. But we also...
Or ATF. What's the ATF?
The ATF is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Nice.
And it is...
And
yeah, so it's going to be relevant exactly for him, Stallone, right?
But also, when she sees him on screen, she's like, oh, fuck.
I
Which is great,
love that. Also, I like that they introduced this like side plot. Is it possible that I saw... We didn't talk about his name, dude. Dwight Malferi or whatever. I don't know what his last name is. Malfoni. Is it possible that I just saw Dwight Malfredi?
Yeah, totally.
And it's fucking what's his name, Patsy from Sopranos,
yeah,
or Patty,
totally.
I think. I forget what the guy's name is.
But yeah, he is also. There's that little like letter that he got from his daughter.
Oh yeah, but my daughter is important.
Oh man,
No.
now that I'm gonna be editing this, that I'm gonna be editing this, I'm gonna put in all of the drops that I want.
I mean, please, dude. Please, you asshole. But just know that this has to be topical, dude. This has to be out like later this week or or Monday at the very latest.
I know.
We can't be far behind on this, Stallone.
Yeah, I know, Stallone. What would you give the first episode out of 10?
Wait, so that's the end. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I have no frame of reference to kind of like base it on. It feels like Sopranos meets a show like Blunt Talk, or I guess Yellowstone, which I haven't seen.
Why are you mentioning Blunt Talk so much?
It just has the same. No. It just has it. To me, it just like that feel. It just had that
Patrick
same.
Stewart.
Yeah. Well, because I watched both of the seasons and I was like, I'm compelled by this. It just felt like that for me. Blunt Talk did.
Okay. All right.
Like this show.
Yeah, I mean, I would give this like a 7.
I would give it a 7. It's watchable.
It's super watchable.
It's highly
like
breedable. It's breeding and bucking. I would give this episode a 7.
I give it a 7. In
Solid. Loved the Stallones.
Stallones, I would definitely give it like an 8.5.
I agree.
I would give it 8.5, and the 0.5 is definitely stacked. It's definitely
it's stacked bones.
It's
for
stacked
sure.
bones. But I really enjoyed Martin Starr, Jay Will, Andrea Savage. I liked all those people, and I like their characters. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I like their characters.
I'm excited.
Too. I'm excited too. I feel like it's like it's a good start. It's
a
enough.
good idea.
It is a good idea, and I didn't mind watching it multiple times. I watched it with Anna, and she was like, I'm gonna watch this with you.
Yeah,
She's like,
it's
I'll
pretty
watch
good.
this with you. It's entertaining. It's like you kind of want to see what happens. It's an interesting premise.
Totally.
It's got me so far.
Yeah, for sure.
8.5
Follow us
stars.
at
Thirsty for More presents on Instagram and
More Thirsty on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. And guys, please, if you like the
Especially
content,
the YouTube show. Guys.
I mean, guys,
I know we have 15 people already.
we might only release this just for the patrons.
Honestly, I think this is the biggest show. They're gonna try and cancel us.
I think they're gonna try.
The
and cancel-
algorithm
yeah,
is working against us. We need to fight against the algorithm.
We do.
The algorithm is being cheated. Joe Biden is cheating the algorithm. See you next week.
Dank edgelord memes, Alex.
Hopefully I didn't fuck it up too much.
See you next week.